Hey YouTube, got a new police scanner. This one is scanning the Springfield, Missouri 800 system and our highway patrol, the local highway patrol system. So this will do P25 and analog. Does analog and digital. This is the old scanner I've been using for a while. Got ham frequencies going right now. One local ham frequencies. This is the what is this one? This is a 652, a Pro 652. And one more thing to show you, but that's downstairs. We will pause the video and take a look at that next. And we are back. This is a traffic camera. I picked this up at a flea market for the whopping price of 20 bucks. We're going to open it up real quick and I'll show you what's inside it. This is just like what you see around, like on the intersections around here, way up on the traffic light poles. Just to get an idea of traffic flow and stuff, I guess. It actually works. I've actually hooked it up. We're going to pull this out. There's this snap ring type deal that holds that in there. I've already taken that out, so it's easy. This whole assembly comes out. There's the actual camera. We're going to set the enclosure on the floor, get that out of the way, and let's start this off real quick with the frost prevention heater here on the front. You can see that orange down in here. That's actually a little 12 volt AC heater in there. There, you can see it. Keeps this from frosting up when it's really cold out. This thing, 1.4 CS mount, made in Japan, 6.5 to 65 millimeter. It'll really zoom in. If you see the green file cabinet over there and the surveillance system that I've got hooked up, it'll read one of those tags on that file cabinet from sitting right here. That's about 15-20 feet away. And you can actually read the serial number. It's on the little tag on that thing with this camera. It's just an ordinary CS mount camera. Doesn't do color, although I could change this part out. It's just like very similar to the camera I have up there. It's got a surge protector on here. Just operates on 12 to 24 volt, either direct current or alternating current. Here's a transformer. 120 volt goes in. You can either get a 12 volt AC out or 24 volt AC, depending on what leads you hook up to it. It's hooked up for 12 right now. This controls your zoom and your focus. These extra connections, these extra 3 connections, controls the zoom and the focus for in here. And the shutter, the iris, is controlled by this cable. It's tied into the camera, so it does that automatically. But if you want to zoom in or focus it, you have to design your own control, which basically, one of these is common, and let's see if I try to remember right. You've got common, which is your return, focus, and zoom. So depending on the polarity of these two, like you take the focus and the common, depending on what polarity you put where, direct current, think anywhere from like 5 volts to 12 volts, will determine whether your focus is going one way or the other. Or your zoom, you put positive polarity to the common and the zoom, it's going, or to the common and negative to the zoom, it's going to zoom out. You reverse the polarity, it's going to zoom in. I may have that backwards, but that's honestly, it's pretty simple. So you'd need to design a little circuit with 2 switches and be able to reverse the polarity. You could zoom in and out with a control. Just run some extra wires for it. Not real hard to do. That's really all there is to it. It's very well sealed. If you look at the housing here, it's got an O-ring in here. And down there, it's got the armored viewport lens. Some of these you can actually pressurize. This one's not that tight because it has that little hole you saw in there. You can just put a special O-ring sealing fitting on here, but some of them actually have an air chuck type thing that would fit in here The same as like what you'd find on your car tires, and you usually pressurize them to like 5 or 10 psi. The reason you would pressurize one is to keep out like condensation and stuff, because if there's a small leak, any air is going to be escaping and it'll be hard for stuff to get into the camera. And they usually have a pressure switch on there, and if the air pressure diminishes below a certain point, it'll actually flash on the screen, check air pressure in camera or something like that. I've seen surveillance footage that shows that, but this one doesn't have that. It's got the O-ring seals, and you can see it's got a little port right here. That little hole right there that actually goes all the way through. That's just, I guess, to keep the atmospheric, to keep it equalized for atmospherics and such. But some of them are actually, you can actually pressurize them to 15 psi. This just isn't one of them. But pretty cool setup. I'm already up to 6 minutes, so I'll probably cut it off there. But I'm actually thinking about installing this one outside in place of one of the other cameras, and actually having a little controller to zoom in and out and change focus. But that's that. Pretty cool little setup, 20 bucks. The housing alone for these sells online for like 200, so. And it's made by a company called Aegis, or AIGIS. Here's the info for it. Aegis. So yeah, you can look them up online. They're still around, and the actual camera is, I've never really heard of them. Rainbow CCTV. The lens is made in Japan, so you know it's probably pretty good. The camera's probably made in China or something, but it's nothing too special. I mean, it's just like the cameras I already use in my existing system. I mean, I've got a whole container of them over there on the other side of the room. But yep, that's that. That's that setup. Police scanner and a new security camera toy to play with. Thanks for watching. Have fun.